going? Gingerbeef here with Noodlecake Studios. Hanging out with you folks today and working on a little bit of a dev stream just to kind of show you guys, peel back the curtain a little bit, show you guys a little bit behind the scenes stuff this afternoon. We are going to be building a birdie together. And I'm going to kind of show you how we do that using some character rigging and animation software. Yeah, so let's dive into it. What we're looking at here right now is this is Spine. This is software that we use for character animation and rigging in Golf Blitz, and we'll also be using it. It's fantastic software. We'll also be using it for Super Flappy Golf. That's going to be coming out soon. And yeah, we have the Pixel Life coming in with a humble brag, hard off the drop. Just kidding. No, that's great. I love that. I love that remix. It's so good. Sorry, that's not the remix. The remix is on the outro scene. That's a completely different song. But yes, they're both great. Yeah, I know. As I saw your comments, Kaylin. That's funny. And it wouldn't have been wrong. It wouldn't have been a lie if it was Merrington. So yeah, I guess let's just hop in and start working away at this. So we're gonna start with, and actually what we'll do here is we're actually going to be splitting up the bodies of the birds and the wings of the birds into separate skins. We'll talk more about that later. But I think for the purposes here, just to keep things a little simpler, we're going to get rid of the wings and just build it all in one thing, in one skin. So let's hop into that. Hey, what's going on, Ace? How you doing? How soon? That is the question. That's my question too. If you find out, let me know. So yeah, we generally where I start is I just drag all the images onto my canvas and get them kind of like set up the way I want, and then we go from there. So let's just do that. I'm going to try to do this without a guide. Sometimes I'll do a guide too, just to kind of show me where everything's supposed to go, but we'll kind of just eyeball it for today. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so you can see here already we got some of the stuff out of place, so we'll just kind of put this to the side. Yeah, and we're going to have all kinds of draw orders we'll sort out here too. And that's basically, draw order just means like how it layers the files. It's also used for a couple other things in Spine, that concept. You have no idea what this is about. Well, welcome in, I want to say Biscotti, but I think it's just Biscott. Thanks for hopping in. Yeah, we're working on making a bird here together. So we'll grab the beak. We want that to be on top of the body so that we can see it. And actually we want it to be probably on top of the cheeks and on top of the eyeballs, irises, and eyelashes. So that should mostly be good for the face, but we just need to put it in the right spot. It looks kind of cursed right now. Where am I? Spineland. Yes, I agree with what Pat said. This is Spineland. Welcome. Okay, so let's get the eyes in the right place. We'll grab we don't need the eyebrows just yet. We'll do that after. And we want the irises. So those kind of go roughly over here. And we'll grab what I call the eyelashes and just kind of line them up properly with the eyeballs there. I think that looks pretty good. Bones and such. Yeah. This is how games get made. Exactly. Yeah. The land of spines and burbs. And then we'll move the beak. We got two components for the beak just so I can animate that a little bit. Give him like a cute little, mouth gesture or whatever. It's pretty cute. He's a cute little guy. I think it goes right about there. And then we'll move these cheeks over. That goes right about there. Something like that. Yeah. And lastly, we do the eyebrows. Grab them both, and this. Can't remember which one is left and right, I think. Yep, okay, we got it. Something like that. You love the cheeks? Yeah, the rosy cheeks. I love that too. It's a nice little detail we added that I think adds a lot. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's get the wing kind of in the right position here, roughly right position. I think, yeah, let's add a bone now for the face, and then we can move everything together. And we will call this face canary. Put it roughly over here, kind of in the center of his face. And then we'll move all of those face components, eyeballs, eyebrows, eyelashes, irises. Most of the assets, the attachments as they're called in spine, are face stuff. But that's the most expressive part, so that makes sense. And I think his face is probably supposed to be right around there somewhere. Okay, that looks good. I think what I'll do to start now, or for the next step, kind of start digging into more of the technical stuff now that he's sort of looking, all the pieces look like they're in the right spot, is I'm going to turn off the beak and turn off the, I think I want to turn off the irises, and I will also turn off the eyelashes. What we're going to do here is actually set up a clipping path for the irises. And what that does is it just doesn't allow the irises to, so if I grab them right now, and actually let's just set up a bone first so I can animate this quickly and show you guys. Irises, let's toss it in there. Oh, I guess I want to move that, so we'll just disable image movement and put it roughly in the middle there, something like that. Okay, so now we can grab this and kind of move that around, right? But we don't want it to like be able to leave outside of the eyeball. That looks kind of weird. So what we're going to do real quick is set up a clipping path. Oh, and sorry, I'm going to turn off the irises first. But we're going to set up a clipping path. And we will call this irises mask. Okay. And the trick I like to do with this, because it can save some asset creation and just make things a little bit easier, is I like to actually just use one clipping path for both eyes. And you might be like, well, how do you get a clipping path in between here? I found a little trick that works pretty well. And I basically just bridge it across. And I just make the gap in between the width of the bridge, we'll call it that, the width of the bridge, super narrow, so it doesn't, you don't see anything rendering there. And we'll just roughly follow the shape. One of the reasons we have the eyelashes is to kind of cover up some of the jagged edges of the clipping path and stuff, and we can save some vertices here, which do marginally impact performance from what I understand, but you know, I always try to make things as efficient as possible. So we'll zoom in there, and you'll start to see what I mean, what I was referring to here. There we go. We'll go back in there in a moment, because we can get pretty, we don't have to be too fine here with this, because we can cover up a lot of it with the irises, or sorry, with eyelashes. And then, and that's good. Now let's go edit. I just want to edit this one here. And we want to get really close in here and move this all the way down so it's almost touching. Same with this guy. Actually move this one up a little bit. And then this all the way down so it's almost touching, just like that. All right. But now you can see that, oh, well, what has it done? It's made everything disappear. That's because everything is currently clipped behind that mask. So it's basically cropping out everything else. There's clipping paths in spine. Yes, there is, Bergsy. Yep, and they're super handy. I use them for a ton of stuff in Super Flappy Golf stuff here. Am I using Ace asks if I'm using a pad and stylus or a trackball? Neither. I'm using a mouse. I use a mouse for this. If I'm drawing stuff, I have an iPad and an Apple Pencil that I use for that. Hey, what's up? Zoo forgot his pass. Good to see it. Jelly Laser Beams. Go to game already. Is there going to be a test flight beta testing? We will have a beta test and probably a soft launch and all that kind of good stuff. Yes. So if you join the Discord, you will have more information there. And I should have grabbed a Discord link. Maybe Kaylin could do me a favor and drop a Discord link in there so you can go ahead and join that. Yeah. Once that stuff's ready, we're going to be looking for people to help us beta test and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so what am I going to do here is I'm just going to move this up, and then you can see as I move it up in the draw order, it actually changes what it's masking, but it's still masking everything above it in the draw order. And so we use draw order, I guess Spine uses draw order to sort of determine how your masks, or how much your masks clip. Or mask, I guess. So yeah, in this case, we just want it masking the irises. So all we have to do is select the mask itself that we created, and then we have the end slot here. You can see now we're going to choose the end slot, and we're just going to make that irises. And so it brings everything else back that was above it. And you can see with the red, it indicates what it's masking. Yeah, and that's basically how I do that. So now let's just turn the eyelashes back on and go in here and fine tune this mask just so it's not, so we're not seeing too many weird artifacts and stuff bleeding out of the mask itself. I think we eyeball it pretty well. It's not too bad here. I think I want to leave that one like that. Might actually go in here and grab these eyelashes and just move them a tiny little bit down, I think. Well, that's close enough, I think. Go keep editing this just a little bit. And that all looks pretty good. One thing I will do though here is just make sure that we don't see too much white. I found with eyes, with like the bright white and then the black irises, and specifically in the case of this artwork, it's better to have the pupil kind of bleed out in a little bit over top as opposed to seeing a line, little tiny like pixel line of white there. That doesn't look good. So if we just kind of put it outside of the eye just a little bit, then you kind of don't notice it. So that's good. So that's great. We've got that ready to go. And now let's turn on the irises, and I will show you how it works. So there you go. We can move the eyes around, and they don't. We can even put this eyeball over there if we wanted to. I don't have any constraints or anything set up on it. So yeah. Thank you, Kaylin, for dropping that in there. So yeah, go ahead. Jelly Laser Beams. Beams? Yeah, Beams. Go ahead and join the Discord if you haven't already. We'll be sharing more info there as that info becomes available. Okay, so we got the eyes done. That's looking pretty good. The next thing, let's maybe add a beak. So we're gonna throw, let's do a mouth bone. Let's do I like to have a container that I can then put other things in. I also like to sometimes change the icons of them. They have a bunch of different icons you can choose from, and the key colors, so I can quickly see and make it pink, like his tongue. That way I can quickly at a glance kind of see where I'm at in the tree here. So if I'm inside the mouth, that sounds weird, but then I know, because everything in there is kind of along that pink line you can see, which is really handy. So I'm actually going to, I think, is it the bottom I want to move? I think I want to move the bottom up a little bit, just so the default position is closed. His mouth is kind of closed, and then we will add a new bone here to kind of control the beak. We'll call that mouth bottom. And I think that's all we're going to do for this particular birdie. Hey, Dawn, welcome in. How are you? Hope you're doing good today. Great to see you in here. Yeah, so now we can control this mouth with that bone. As you can see, make him kind of quack a little bit, make a little chirping sound. So that's fun. And now we'll do eyebrows. I think for the eyebrows, I'm also going to do a container for them. So we'll do a new bone. Bring it up here. here. Call this eyebrows. Won't worry about changing the icon or anything for that. I just kind of wanted to show you guys that feature. And then we put both the eyebrows in there. Create a new bone as a child of the eyebrows. And this one will be eyebrow right. Do that. And I'll just duplicate it to save a couple clicks. And we'll call this one left. There we go. And then we can just put our eyebrow left into the left bone and our eyebrow right into the right bone. And now we can move those around easily. I mean, you can move the images around too, right? In the editing mode here, or the setup mode as it's referred to. But you can't animate that. You can't key that. So we need things to be in bones if we're going to animate that. Working and lurking. Well, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. Okay, that's looking good. I'm going to turn off the wing for now. Turn off the visibility on the wing for now. Because the next thing we're going to do is set up what I like to call like faux depth, fake 3D. It's kind of just a little like weighting technique for vertices on a mesh that allow you to kind of create a artificial 3D effect from a 2D asset, and it's pretty easy to do. So I like to add that little extra layer of depth to bring it more to life. So let's see here. I'm going to do a new bone for the body, and then inside the body we are going to do our depth stuff. I'll kind of walk you through it as we're doing it here. We're going to call this depth control, or CTRL. I'm going to color code that one to blue. And yes, I'm going to leave it there. And then I'm going to add another bone inside there. And I'm going to say that this is the depth control handle. I'm going to change the icon for this just because I like to. And I'm going to make that front one green. Front one, well, you'll understand in a moment. And then I'm going to duplicate it. Once again, we use handy duplication to save a few steps. And I'm going to make this one blue. And this one's going to be called the depth control offset. Okay, so we're going to move that over here. Oh, and actually, you know what? I'm going to turn the bones on because we don't need to hide them. I usually like to hide the bones because once I've been working on a rig for a while with multiple characters and stuff, you get a lot of bones. And so it's, unfortunately, it's kind of a pain in the butt to turn specific ones on and off, visibility on and off. So I just generally work without the bones visible. But in this case, since we won't have that many bones yet, we'll turn them on. Okay, so depth control offset, I'm going to change the icon for that one to this guy. Okay, that's the way I like it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use something that's called a transform constraint here. We're going to constrain the transform of our offset to the handle. Okay, depth control transform constraint, TCNS is usually what I use. Hit match, because what that does is it takes all the offsets so these bones aren't in the exact same position, obviously, right? Because I purposefully moved them. I think I'm going to move this down just a little bit too, like that. Yeah, it's sort of important. So here we're going to set it to match, and you can see it changes the translation values there. That's just saying, okay, well, this is the 0 point in relation to this, as opposed to if I didn't hit match, then when I set these the mix down here, you would have seen that this bone would move to the same position as that, and we don't want that for our purposes. And I'm trying to remember now. I think, well, let's just try this out. So I actually set the transform to a negative so that when you move the handle, it moves the other bone in the opposite direction. And I think I like to have it at 50% if I'm remembering that value correctly. All right, so that is basically all we need. Three bones, technically. 3 bones in a prayer. So now we set up the mesh. Let's do the mesh on the body. We'll specifically only need, for the purposes of this artwork, we only need the mesh applied to the body. We'll need a mesh for the wings as well, but in terms of like this depth control, we don't need to do that to the face or anything. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So let's go ahead and edit this mesh. We don't have to get too fine with this either. It could be pretty loose, so you don't have to have like a bunch of like ton of vertices is what I'm trying to say. You can get away with like a very few amount, in fact, to create this effect. And sometimes I go in and add more afterwards, just because I think, yeah, something like that. Just because there might be some detail or whatever I need to refine. But you'll probably see that as we go along here. So that'll become more clear at that point. Okay, and I think I'll go across like so. Something like that. Okay, so that's basically the mesh for the outer side, or the outside of the artwork. Inside we want to do a little bit more detail. And that's for all kinds of reasons. For one thing, we have strokes baked into our artwork for specific purposes. And if you don't do this, you can have some weird stretching and bending and squeezing of the stroke. So I've learned to set this kind of thing up, and then we can kind of control the whole outline, the stroke, independently. So that's great. Now we want a little bit of control over this shine effect, this glossy part here. I want some control over this, I think. And then we want, most importantly almost, to create this depth effect, is to control these golf ball dimples. And again, it'll all become clear once you see it in action. Okay. And I think that's basically it, at least for the first pass. I don't think, actually, let me just add one more thing in here. I think something like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we take the depth control bones that we've created, and actually I should move the body of the canary into the body bone, so kind of keep it all grouped together. Let's bind that to our mesh. So what that does then is it takes those bones and it says, okay, well, you know, this bone controls this vertex, and kind of does like a bunch of math and calculations and figures it all out, sets it up all automatically. However, and I'll show you here, so you can kind of see all these different little like pie graph things here. That's showing you which bone controls this vertex and to what degree. So like this one, this vertex here is 46% for the handle, 23% for the offset. So what I like to do is actually select all of them and just make them all 100% to the depth control, which we're not going to move. It's kind of like our anchor for this effect. And then we select all of the outside, and I think we want these ones too, probably. Yes, that one, like that. We want to grab all of these vertices and then give them 50% of the offset, which is the back. So what we're trying to do, again, if you remember, is create a faux depth. So there's this sort of a nebulous or loose concept of like front and back in the artwork. So what is supposed to be in the foreground? Well, it's a ball shape, right? So these dimples would kind of be closer to us, closer to the camera, than like this back stroke outline part here. And that's important to create that depth effect. Now we want to select all the stuff that we want in the front. it's again, it's a 2D asset, but if you kind of think of it in those terms, it helps. Oh, and actually this one, I'll fix that after. I didn't mean to select that one. And then we set that to 50% of the handle. So that we move the handle, that's going to follow the handle 50%, and it's going to follow the depth control, which doesn't move at all, 50%. And then we want to take this guy too and fix that so that it's actually controlled by the handle and not by the offset. And then this guy here and this guy here. Well, let's try this. I think we might have to tweak this a little bit. We'll give it a shot and see. Okay. All right, well, let's give it a try and see how it looks. So that when I take this, actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to do something really quick here. Not the way I'm going to do it, but this will help sell the effect. And I'll turn off the bones as well. So you can kind of see as we move it around, it kind of looks like he's 3D a little bit. And yeah, we will have to adjust these. I think I want this one to actually be the offset as well. Yeah, that's a little better. And then this one. This one, I think I want to bring this down a little bit to be like 30%. Oops, we don't want to rotate it. We want to move it. I think that's a little better. So yeah, it's a quick thing to do. It's done basically right there. So it's pretty quick and easy to do, and it adds quite a bit of life to the little character, so you can kind of look towards you and stuff like that. And I'll show you later in animation where he's sort of looking around and stuff. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I threw the face into this bone here because that's essentially what we're going to do, except that we're not. we're gonna produce the sort of the same thing, because now if you'll see if I take the handle now the face isn't a child, it doesn't move, and it sort of breaks the illusion, right? But we also don't want it moving as much as the handle does, because the body doesn't move as much as the handle does. Now the reason I do that is because if you set it to like 100%, like if I set these these vertices to be 100% controlled by the handle and 100% controlled by the offset, like even minor movements just create like it's hard to like fine tune the animation. So I find that having like half of each vertex of each vertex kind of locked to an anchor, it really helps with just ease of animation. So that's why it's like that. But we're going to take the face and we're actually going to do another transform constraint. We're going to constrain it to the handle as well. We're going to do basically the same thing. Face depth control TCNS transform constraint. We're going to do basically the exact same thing that we did with the other one, except that we're going to have it follow it and not follow it in negative or inverse movement, but we're going to actually have it follow the movement. So there we go. So now if we grab this handle, you'll see it'll kind of moves everything together at the same pace, and it all sort of just works. You can do some bad things though too if you go really crazy with it. But yeah, it doesn't have a lot of what's the term? I could definitely go in and fine tune it more and make it so you have more range of movement, but I find you don't really need a lot. Like even just that is quite a bit to give you kind of sell the effect. Okay, so that's good there. We got control for the eye, we got control for the mouth, we got eyebrow control, we're good there. Really all that's left is the wing. So let's go ahead and do that. Turn the wing back on here, and we'll bring it into the body. And we'll start off by doing a quick mesh on this guy, because we will use a mesh on the wing as well. Just to kind of give it a floppy, flappy kind of feel to it. So in this case, we don't have to worry about the depth effect on the wing, because we'll be kind of handling that in a different way, similar to how we did the face. So we don't really need to get in there with all the special vertices that we needed for the other mesh. However, we do want the deformation. So when these vertices move, we want the deformation to kind of like behave naturally in relation to how the art is laid out. So in this case, it'll probably be good to do something like this, I think, and probably throw some vertices in here too, just so we can kind of collapse these down on each other. And actually, I might just move this one to like something like there. And we can get, I don't know, if there's time, I might get into more fine tuning with the weighting on these, but I think the effect will probably work pretty well even without doing much of that. So let's create another bone in the body. We're gonna call this shoulders, because this is what's gonna hold our wings, because he in fact has 2 wings, even though there's just one here right now. But you kind of need 2 wings to fly, right? Okay, so I think we keep this pretty simple as well. And let's do, this is going to be wing, right, oops, right, 1. And then we'll do something like this. And then also here, we'll do something like this. Roughly like that. Okay, so you can kind of see we've got 3 bones here that's going to control the wing. The reason I kind of added this bottom one here is that this allows us to kind of collapse these this artwork together and sort of create more of a flapping movement than you would be able to produce just by having a single bones there. You prefer vertice, Rifleman? That's funny. Have we shown any gameplay yet? No, I don't believe we have. I don't think we've shown anything in Discord or anything either, but hopefully soon. We're getting really close to having like gameplay is working. It's playable, so we should be able to share something soon. Stay posted in the Discord there. There's a link just further up in the chat. Soon. Oh, hey, Cool Blue Flames here too. Welcome in. I don't know if I missed you earlier, but good to see you. Oh, I did. Whoa. Good to see you. Okay, so I think probably what I want to do now is actually duplicate this and make these into the left wing. We'll go left, that's fine, whatever. Meant to call that left 1, but we don't have to worry about it too much. Just helps keep track when you're actually animating stuff. If you keep the naming, stuff properly, it's really helpful. All right, and we'll move this one probably over, and we are going to flip it. Oh, because it's flipping along the here. Let's also nope, don't do that. There we go. 0. No. 180. No. Well, that's weird. I don't recall that happening before. Moving world. Bones and images. No. Well, whatever. Let's just eyeball it for now. Something like that. I don't know why it's requiring 35. Should have just flipped it over, but whatever. That's fine. So yeah, I wonder if I want to. No, I think this will work. This will work. Okay, so let's bind this to our mesh, and there we go. So now it's going to move the whole thing. Individual parts will move individual parts of the wing, right? And then you can see what I was referring to as collapsing. You can kind of collapse those. And again, like I could get in here and like really fine tune these weights on these vertices, but I don't know if for our purposes I really need to. You'll get the drift. Oops. Okay, so Now we're going to duplicate that guy. Probably should have done this before, but that's fine. And we will flip this over, and this should work properly. And no, yes, okay, that didn't screw with my angle at all. That was fine. And let's just move it over to roughly there. Okay, and now that one can be bound to the left wing bones. Okay, but of course it's sitting over top of his face. That's not good. We'll use our handy dandy draw order there to just throw it in behind. So there we go. He's basically done. Ready to go. Ready to be animated. Subscriber. Oh. I thought that was saying we got a new subscription. You know, something else I want to do actually, something else I want to do is bind the shoulders as well. Did that work? Yes. Okay. And then let's go in here. Recalculate these weights. Yep. Recalculate those weights. Didn't put any shoulders in there. What? Okay, whatever. I want to take these guys. I think that's probably good enough. And have them fully locked onto the shoulders bone. Oh, I gotta select the bones I want, of course. That one too, I think. Just so that it keeps it sort of connected to the body. I maybe should have showed you what it would have looked like otherwise. But now when I do this, you can kind of see up here, it's sort of like connected to the body. And we can play around with those weights. We probably want to actually get in here and give this like a little bit of be right one, something like that. So that when we move the bone, it's a little, or we don't get like crazy jaggy vertex stuff going on. But yeah, that's about it there. But what we want to do for the shoulders is kind of the same thing we did with the face. Another transform constraint. We've already done this, so we know how to do it quickly now. And we will call this the shoulder TCNS. We will match that, and then we will set it to 50% and 50%. So once again, now, if we move our depth control, it moves our wings. Oh, and you know what? I actually did this wrong. I did this wrong. That's right. I remember how I did this now. I don't want shoulders. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. We actually want two different ones. Yes, that's right. So we're going to create two new bones. And we will call this... Actually, we have to fix this one now. That's okay. Wing left. Duplicate it. Wing right. Put wing right in wing right, and wing left in wing left. Wing left, we are going to do a transform constraint to that depth control offset. We could do it to the handle too, but we'll do it to the offset. That's just maybe more intuitive. And we will match that, and we will give it 50% and 50%. And then wing right, we're going to constrain that to what we did before, which was the handle. Whatever, we won't worry about that too much. And 50% transform and 50% transform. There we go. So now it's probably going to look a little bit more natural when he turns. Oh, except that it's bound to the shoulder, so I'll have to fix that too. Let's remove that. Yeah. And what we want to bind it now to is actually wing right. Okay. We got that. Let's see if it auto does it for us. Nope. For some reason, it doesn't love waiting to that bone, but that's okay. And something like 30%, I think, somewhere in there. Okay, now let's try it. There we go. So that feels more natural. Okay, awesome. So that's basically how we do it. It varies depending on the artwork. Some are easier, quicker to do than that even. Some take longer. But generally all the same principles apply. Some will have, like a different face. For example, we have an elephant. It has a big trunk, and so I want to animate that, so I'll have to do special bones for that kind of thing. But generally, that's how she looks. Okay, so let's show you now kind of what the finished product is going to look like once it's animated. So this is just kind of like a simple little idle animation of him hanging out, flapping. There's a flapping animation. That one doesn't have anything in it. He also has a glide animation. Spoiler alert for that. That there. You can also sleep. That was a marketing one. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of the gist of it. He's a cute little guy. I really like the character that Paz has designed here. They are a lot of cuteness all in one little yellow ball. So yeah, join the Discord. You can join the Flappy Discord. We also have a Golf Blitz one if you want to check that out, and we also have a Noodlecake one. So hop in there. Into the Flappy one, we'll be dropping more teasers and info in the coming weeks and months about stuff that's coming to the game. We're planning to do a little character teaser reveal to show off a bunch of the different characters that we're planning. So that's probably what you'll see next, and then hopefully some gameplay stuff too. We can start to show some of that off in a relatively soon time. So that'll be good. Appreciate you all for hanging out with me today, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the upcoming weekend. Enjoy the spring. Love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out, and have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya.